that was a bright and breezy entry, wasn't it? So hello everybody, welcome to the Go Live Now show, live in vertical on 2 LinkedIn channels and 2 YouTube channels simultaneously, and brought to you by the wonder of Ecamm and Restream and Zoom all working together, and Neil pointing at everything in the right direction. And what we always say with these shows is, if they don't work at all, then it's Neil's fault, and if they look terrible, then it's my fault, and that's how we kind of split up the workload between us. So hopefully now it is working, or appears to be working. Then we will be looking good for most of the time as well. Now, during this show, we're actually running a Zoom call, believe it or not. Yes, this is really a Zoom call. So because I'm actually in charge of running the Zoom call, it probably means I'm going to be sort of looking around my camera at multiple screens and pressing buttons and things like that. So I'm going to press a couple of buttons in a moment or two, because we've got some guests sitting in the green room and I need to allocate them to cameras. So in the meantime, I'm going to let Neil explain exactly what you're looking at and how we've got to that point.
Well, thank you to Martin for making this look great, and obviously I'm getting it working because I can see that we're streaming to 4 places, which is always a good thing. So thank you, Restream, for that. So what we're trying to do is every Tuesday now we're going to be going live here on LinkedIn and on YouTube Shorts to both our respective channels. And we've created this vertical show because we want to show you the power of vertical meetings, and show you how we can actually bring everybody in via just a simple Zoom setup and bring everybody in as guests and so on into our show. So we've got a few people, as Martin said, waiting in the green room. And what we're going to be doing is walking you through some scenes that Martin's created with guests and overlays and various things, with a view of really showing you what the power is of using vertical video, especially for content in LinkedIn Live, YouTube and other things, and the ability to repurpose this content in the future as well. And I think Martin's done an amazing job of making this look great. And we've also got some interactions coming up as well to do some testing. So I can see all these comments coming in everywhere, so it looks to be pretty good. So have you allocated your guests, Martin? Have you been pressing?
I've allocated my guests, so we will be there shortly, guests. But before we do, we want to mention that in the comments on YouTube and on Zoom, Neil has dropped in a Zoom link. So you can actually, I say he has, obviously I don't know that he has.
I'm going to do it right now.
See, I'll give them one job to do. This can't get
I know,
started.
one job to do. So sorry. I know. Sorry about that.
So currently there is a LinkedIn, there is a Zoom link being dropped into the LinkedIn comments on my side and Neil's side on our profiles, and also into YouTube. So if there's anybody out there watching who would like to join us, then you can grab that LinkedIn, that Zoom link, just click on the link, just like joining a regular Zoom meeting, and then I'll probably be looking a bit cross-eyed while I try to admit anyone who does randomly arrive, but you're welcome to join us. And also we will be testing out a few things and asking you to drop stuff in the comments, but we'll explain how we're doing that in a minute. So let us move on, because what we wanted to do first of all was ask a couple of questions. So myself and Neil will just magically shift up here, because we can do that now in the new Ecamm beta version of software which we're running today. So what can possibly go wrong? So in the background here we have a few guests sitting in the green room waiting to come on screen. They can wave furiously. It's not got any good. I can get rid of them again in a minute, but we're going to bring them in a minute or two. But first of all, we want to ask you a question or two. So here come the questions. So here's our first questions, which is, which device do you watch video on LinkedIn on? Number 1, desktop. Number 2, laptop. Number 3, mobile. Or number 4, I never watch video on LinkedIn, which we know isn't true because you're watching this. So we don't want any number 4s, but in the chat you can just type in 1, 2, 3 or 4. This is only going to work within Zoom, the way we've got this configured today, because I needed to keep my life simple. But we can, if we use a combination of Restream as well and a Chrome plugin, suck in different comments from all the different platforms and get them to drive the interactions that you're looking at the moment. So what we're using here is a package called Stream Alive, and Stream Alive takes those comments and turns them into lovely pictures for us. So we can already see here that mobile, it looks like, is the most preferred option for watching video on. Now, I didn't get round to typing into the comments because I'd have probably put desktop, actually, because I've got loads of giant monitors, so I watched video on giant monitors. But it's an interesting statistic because LinkedIn are currently telling us that more and more people are viewing content, video content in particular, on their mobile, which means obviously they're viewing it in vertical. LinkedIn have also just started rolling out a video button on the mobile application so that you can do the flick through of watching and consuming loads of mobile stuff just by show me the next one, show me the next one. Now, I haven't seen any rhyme or reason as to what it's going to show you yet, so I don't know what the algorithm is that decides what you're going to see after the first one you've watched. But they are definitely pushing that and prioritizing vertical video. So if we go and repurpose any of this content using some of the tools like CapCut and various other different ones, there's about 4 or 5 different ones, including Descript, that you can use to repurpose content, and it creates little clips for you. We can then post those back to LinkedIn and know that they're going to get prioritized. Just as a sort of word of caution, if you go looking for that mobile button on your phone version of LinkedIn and it's not there, then you're in the same boat as me. I don't have it. For some reason, they haven't let me have it in Scotland, but they've let Neil have it in Portugal. So it's not dependent on where you are in the world either. It is dependent on the group number which was allocated by LinkedIn to you when you originally joined LinkedIn. So it's a bit of an odd one, but you will definitely get that mobile side of things coming in at one point. And that Saeed's blaming Brexit for everything. And you know, I live in Scotland. We didn't vote for Brexit. The rest of the country did. So next question from Stream Alive, and you'll note that with Stream Alive I've been able to colour code everything to match the rest of my background so it looks cool, and I can go on to my next question, which is would you like to go live on LinkedIn? So 1 is not really, 2 is a bit more, 3 is a bit more, 4's a bit more, 5, if you're already doing it, you're a 5 anyway. But what we really wanted to see is everything coming out to the 5 side of things. 3, so we're just doing that so we can get the bars to move up and down really, and it looks really super cool. And again, it's all matching in smoothly, it's going smoothly, and it's matching in with all of the background colours. So literally I was able to go pick the exact colour that I wanted, and then drop in that hex code into Stream Alive so that I know that it all matches up nicely for me. We got the little Stream Alive logo on here. You can get a version without the Stream Alive logo as well. And at the end of the show, we'll give you a QR code that will let you go grab the Stream Alive application and have a play about with that if you want to. So it's interesting statistics to see how many people want to go live on LinkedIn. Myself and Neil are going to be putting together a course on going live on LinkedIn, because this is probably super advanced level 3, which is where we're at. We think most people probably want to be at a level 1 or a level 2 to start with. So we're going to start with something simple. But we also think that cameras and lights and microphones and backgrounds and things like that are equally as important. If we're suddenly going to get a giant amount of people appearing on LinkedIn live doing videos or recorded videos, we want them looking good as well. So you don't want terrible cameras and terrible quality audio, because it's just not going to wash. No point in having a large quantity of something that's not very good. So that was Streamer Live in action. We've got Lux on the line here in the background, who is one of the co-founders of Streamer Live. He probably will disappear now, because that's probably the only Streamer Live that we're going to have. But we have another number of other guests hiding in the background here. And remember, if you want to jump in, then you can do just by following the Zoom link that Neil has now dropped into the comments on both YouTube and on Zoom. And we have a big Lego head there. So I'm going to bring everybody on one at a time. I think. Ray, say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody. Ray Harwood.
And
do you want more
Ray,
than
Ray? Where are you joining us from, Ray?
So I'm just outside Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm a Zoom event producer. It's kind of small solo guy, but I've been using Stream Alive for a while, and been helping out a little bit in some of their extra development and to get them in some spaces where we're looking forward to them in the Zoom events platform. So, yeah.
Yeah. Super. Well, next up is. He's looking the other way now. Saeed, face the camera. You've just come on.
Test. Okay, I hope you can hear me. I was just realizing I probably selected the wrong microphone, but here I am. Hello, everybody. This is Saeed from windy Germany. Happy to be here also, of course. A huge fan of everything that's virtual interactivity and engagement, and a fan of Streamer Live and Neil and Martin, of course. I am co-founder of the Neil and Martin fan club.
We didn't pay him for that either. I can't believe it. Thank you. Genuine.
We can afford to. But I'm glad the wind has left Scotland, but it's obviously heading over in your direction. But I lost about 3 trees in the garden last week. But hey ho. Next up, fading in all the way from the USA, New York, I think. Lux, hello, how are you doing? Introduce yourself to everyone.
Hey, almost New York. So Lux Narayan here in a place called Basking Ridge, New Jersey, about an hour west of New York City. And I'm leading the East Coast US charge of the Neil and Martin fan club. So we have chapters across the world, as you've probably guessed. In my spare time, I'm also a co-founder at Stream Alive, and just absolutely love how you folks use it, and I mean, everybody on this call. So it's magic in your hands, and I learn something each time I see this. Vertical videos, gosh.
Yeah, well, wow. Hopefully you'll watch this back on the replay on LinkedIn. So watch the LinkedIn replay rather than the YouTube replay. Now the reason for that is the LinkedIn replay will not put stuff all over the screen. You'll have a little bit of closed captions at the bottom of the screen and not much else. The YouTube version, you will get buttons to direct you all over the place, appearing all over the screen. So you're much better actually watching the replay on LinkedIn. And that's quite interesting in terms of me laying out this screen as well. So I've intentionally left some space at the bottom of the screen for closed captions to run over, so that it's not affecting the safe space, if you want to call it that we're sitting in at the moment. So it is very much a structured area that you can work within, but you'll be surprised at how much you can get onto the screen, because people watch soccer on their phone, they watch films on their phone, they tons of emails and read books, so why not this? Right. So we'll take you through a couple of different scenes. Now, because we haven't got any additional guests, we're going to have some blank areas on the screens, just in grey, but you have to imagine the guests would be there. But let's say we had finished here, and then we want to go on to the next scene, and I need to come and click in the right place, which is this one here. We have a slightly different version of what's going on, and Ray will be familiar with the active speaker in Zoom. So I've intentionally laid out our cameras now so that any of us can be the active speaker except for me. So that's why Neil has inadvertently dropped in to the active speaker area, because he was the last person who spoke. But now, Lux, if you want to say something.
Something?
So
that makes me the active speaker.
That makes you the active speaker, and it should work also, this, and I was hoping to test it with somebody else who's not actually placed in as a camera. So even if people have joined the Zoom call but they're not on the screen with us, now in this new version of Ecamm, the active speaker should also work for them. But you'll notice that people are changing from black and white into colour, and that's because I've made each of the cameras black and white in Ecamm, and then not the active speaker camera. So Saeed, if you now say something.
Don't do drugs or Microsoft Teams meetings.
That's sound advice, I think, from Saeed there. I've just noticed as well, Martin, that I don't know what the Zoom active speaker is doing with name placeholders, but it's keeping my name for everybody. No, that's fine. I'm more than happy for everybody to have my name for the duration of this show. But I'm just curious to see what that is. But we are, just for everybody's sake, we are actually running the beta version of Ecamm Live right now, which has had a lot of enhancements with the transitions, the placeholder names for Zoom guests and everything that Martin has just mentioned. So yeah, we can take a look at that as well. But that's interesting just to see the same name there. But I can see all your names are actually correct in your respective cameras and so on. So whatever you've named yourself in Zoom is being visible within that placeholder. But interesting. Perfect. I'll shut up now. So
that is interesting, Neil, because I hadn't even noticed that your name was at the bottom, and so, maybe 75% of the people didn't notice, and the 25% of the people going, "Oh, that's wrong." Yeah, you got to point those things out, don't you?
I do. You have to, right? We want it properly and correct and everything else. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, we have another guest joining us. Look at this. It's going to be a full house soon. We're going to be testing the limits of your machine, Martin, and the internet at the same time. So that's going to be fun.
We are.
Got one more
thank you.
Neil in the room. Yes.
Another Neil in the room. Yeah. So thanks for joining us, Joanna. You don't have to turn on your camera. That's all right. But if you'd like to, that's entirely up to you. Now, everybody's comments are starting to come in, and I'm seeing a giant volume of comments appearing in all over the place. So I'm going to move to another scene in a moment or two with some comment placeholders on it. Of course, I need to remember which scene that is, having created loads of different scenes to try and get as much on as possible. So here we go on a 6-up scene, and I should be able to add some comments in here. So hey Tina, thank you very much.
It's very kind of you.
Equip Institute, thank you.
Thank you, Florence.
Hey Gretchen, how are you doing? We can bring Saeed all of these comments in from different locations. So I notice there that that's got a little LinkedIn symbol in it. So I'm assuming, Neil, that means that comment has come in from LinkedIn via Restream. Is
Yes.
that right?
That's right. Yeah. So
That's
Restream
okay.
is just augmenting all these comments into one place, and then because we've got Ecamm Live running, then that's just basically pulling everything in. So
Cool.
it's just really easy for us to pull those in now.
Okay, so Tina's coming in from YouTube. Gretchen's coming in from YouTube. So yeah, so we can see where people are coming in from, and if they have a lovely avatar, then the avatar will come in as well. If they have my green avatar, it doesn't look very good everywhere, anywhere at all. So, Saeed is indeed everywhere, so I'm just going to get that one in as well, because that's got another different symbol in it, and I don't know what that one is. What's the camera symbol?
Zoom. That's the Zoom.
That's the Zoom one. I see, right.
Yeah. So we can pull
So-
in comments from the green room, if you like. So the Zoom participants can have this sort of private chat, and then we can bring also the comments in from all the places that we're streaming to at the same time as well. All in this
Perfect.
vertical format, which looks great.
And hi, Joanna. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. for our
Where are
event.
you Where are you joining us from?
From Sweden, actually.
Wow.
Well,
Welcome.
we have people from all around the world. Then Germany, Sweden, USA, Portugal, Scotland. Well, two from the USA who've managed to get on here today. So, tell us a little bit. What do you do in the live streaming world? I see you've got a good camera image there, so you obviously do live streaming world and a blur background as well. So, tell us a bit about that.
I'm trying to start up something more on the private, not in working area, but well, I think it's very exciting to try out things and so on. So I saw that on LinkedIn and wow, I had to see this. So I started the meeting on LinkedIn, but I had to jump out of it because it was too messy. So I'm only enjoying it at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the way it's working at the moment. So what I have got is one other scene set up here, and it's just to show where we can get up to in terms of information on the screen. Because if you ask somebody, how much could you get on one screen, immediately they would think, oh, you can't really get very much on the screen, or you can't get a lot of people on the screen. Well, I'm going to tell you that you can get a lot of people on the screen, and I'm going to change that camera so it's not black and white. That would be Zoom Active Speaker. Oh, it isn't changing on me. So that's Zoom Active Speaker. I've got a lot of buttons to go through here. Oh, that's
So
interesting.
whilst we're waiting for you to change that, so
Carry
I'm
on.
seeing now that in this view, the Zoom Active Speaker overlay looks like it is changing comments. I'm looking at it with my bad eyesight on my small screen here, but I think if somebody else was to speak and jump in, it should change the name.
Which part is
Neil?
about the part for the active speaker? No, it's still pointing to you, Neil. We're all Neil
Oh, is
today.
it? Okay. See, so that's my bad eyesight. So I thought it was changing names, but there you go. We'll have to take a look at why that is actually keeping the placeholder for
But
me. So
I think the solution is if we all rename ourselves to active speaker, then I think it's fair.
that's the best way to do it. Let's do that then.
That's the way
Let's
to do it.
that.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Oh dear. I know. Let me ask Johanna a question then whilst we're waiting. So Johanna, you are, what's your sort of niche, or what type of video and production work are you looking at doing, if we may ask?
I work with training and education on higher level. I mean, all kind of digital meetings, presentations, training and education. So it's so much fun that you can do. So that's why I'm really fond of trying out different things. So I have followed you guys a lot on YouTube and Ecam Family.
Oh, thank you.
So, yeah.
Oh, right. And do you use Ecam then? Is that right?
Yeah,
I think I've seen your name a
Yeah.
few times. Great. Right. Well, if you do need any help with anything or any inspiration, then don't come to me, because Martin's the one who provides all the wonderful overlays and things. I can technically help you out and fix things. And I'm just joking, but Martin is the wizard, the design savant behind all this stuff. So yeah, he's the one that can create all these types of wonderful things.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I could take all these wonderful things, but I don't seem to be able to change that active speaker that I intentionally made not black and white.
Black and white. I don't know. Is it locked or something, or it's just you're not able to change it in the camera effects?
I'm not getting a drop down for the active speaker in the camera effects window for some reason.
You're not good. How about in the camera switcher then? Can you change it there and then look in, because you can initiate the camera effects within the camera switcher direct. But as we're troubleshooting, so Lux, you mentioned a question around the area below the Go Live Now logo is space for captions. Yes, so depending on what platform you use, Lux, if it's, for example, LinkedIn Live at the moment, because it's going to be shown to everybody in the 16:9 format, then it's going to look a bit weird unless you do on the replay. And I know LinkedIn, eventually, they're suggesting that they're going to be able to show you this sort of in its native format. But if you were to go on YouTube Shorts, otherwise known as the Wild West, then there are closed captions, there's buttons, there's, you know, the like buttons, favorite buttons, you'll see hearts and things popping in and all that kind of stuff, like a TikTok arrangement where you see everything sort of bubbling around there. So that's why it's good to have actually nobody's face or anything in that particular area. It's almost like a safe zone where you would not really put anything of use. So that's why the comments can pop up and things like that. And the thing is, when people do make comments as well on YouTube Shorts and other platforms, then those comments can sort of come up on the bottom side and cover up certain areas. So you've got to be careful depending on what platform, and every platform's got their own sort of boundaries and safe zones and everything else. So what Martin's tried to do is make the best visual representation from a styling perspective to see where it would fit better in what particular platform. So I think I'll have to look at this back on YouTube Shorts later, but we shall see what it looks like. Yeah. If
I
LinkedIn
think
and
also
TikTok had a baby. Yes. Sorry, Saeed.
I just want to say, being aware of where the like and comment buttons are for shorts, for example, if they're on the right side. But I think if you Google like safe zones for every social media, you get like a little image, then you can use it as an overlay when you design your things in, for example, Ecamm or elsewhere.
Right. Great. And thank you, Ray, for joining. I know you've had to drop off and you had some other commitments, but really appreciate you joining. You'll see this on the replay, hopefully, as thanking you. So, yes, thanks for joining us on this one as well. All right.
I'm just moving back to a scene because I can't work out for the life of me why I can't get that to change back to colour. But
Not a problem.
I will work it out after the show has finished. But while we're here, I'm kind of interested to know whether anybody is streaming in vertical live at all yet. So Saeed, I don't know. I think you're the most likely candidate to have streamed live in vertical, but I don't know if you've tried it yet.
No, I haven't. I even rarely stream in horizontal, to be honest. So I'm more of having my sessions in Zoom or in Butter, for example, where I use all the magic of virtual cameras. But I hope in 2025 this is something worth exploring. So it looks fun for the moment, and I see a lot of potential. Would be something I would watch like at 3 a.m. in my bed in this format.
You mean this show or just vertical in general?
No. Just to be clear, I mean the format itself. I mean
right. Okay.
The vertical format.
That's
no,
quite
Neil,
disturbing
no,
in itself.
No.
That's quite disturbing.
No.
Thank you.
Can we cut this out? No, this is live, right? Okay.
No, we're going to repurpose that. We'll be repurposing that. We'll have big neon letters. Saeed watches us in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, make a note. That's 30 minutes in. Delete the rest of the show after this point. Okay, no problem.
So, Lux is asking, are you overlaying comments from Ecamm? In fact, let's just bring that onto the broadcast because I can bring that on to the broadcast over the top of Neil. Or move it around if I want to.
That's a better look.
That's a better look. Nicely colour coordinated as well.
So the answer to the question is no, we're not multi-streaming from Ecamm. We're just using Restream as the aggregation multi-streaming engine for us. So we've just got one connection. Well, it's a bit complicated, but Martin's basically got one connection from his Ecamm production today going to Restream, and then Restream is multi-streaming to my YouTube channel and my LinkedIn. And then I've sent, because it's my Restream account, and then what I've done is sent a link from Restream to Martin's free Restream account, and basically then it piggybacks on this stream. So my Restream account is pushing to Martin's free Restream account, pushing to his destination. So that's how we've got 4 of these streams going, because it just saves on bandwidth and so on. Technically, we could have done all this in Ecamm using the multi-stream function, and the same rules would apply where all the chat would come into one particular place. But right now, Ecamm and LinkedIn aren't playing nicely together with regards to chat. So the chat messages from LinkedIn wouldn't be visible in Ecamm's chat window for now. So that's why we're also using Restream, because that works, and everything from a chat perspective also comes into Ecamm if we use Restream. So it's the best of both worlds, low bandwidth and we get all the chat comments coming in at the same time. So hopefully that answers the question for you.
Yeah, and just to make it more complicated, if we plug Streamer Live into the equation as well, then we're using a Chrome extension on Streamer Live to suck in comments to drive things from all over the place as well. So,
yeah, we're not doing it right now for this particular test, but the next show we are going to use the Streamer Live Restream plugin to then pull everything in, as Martin said. So then everybody who's within the system that we're streaming to will be able to participate in the chat and so on. And that's the beauty of Streamer Live and what's happened recently with that plugin, because it makes it so much easier now. So we can augment all the chat and bring all the comments, all the reactions, and all the audience participation in one place using Restream and the Streamer Live plugin, which is fantastic. So, but for purposes of this, we're just using Zoom right now. So basically what you're saying is you need a Martin for this. Yeah, well, I could have done it from my side, but Martin's basically got better bandwidth than I have, and better visuals and everything else. So yeah, for this particular show, it's great. I don't have to press any button. I can just talk and just be here and let Martin beaver away in the background. So and I do the opposite on Thursday. So we do share the responsibility / stress of working on this production at the same time.
Yeah, and just so you're aware, I'm in Edinburgh and I've got some very good bandwidth going on. Got broadband cable just outside the door. Neil is in Portugal and is actually Elon Musk does his streaming for him personally, I believe. He has to call him up and say, Elon, turn on the Starlink, and he turns it on for him. Gets Mr. Trump off the phone presumably first, take Neil's call, and boots up Starlink so that Neil can stream live
just
from
for
Portugal. Yeah,
that's
because
right.
it's important.
That's right. Just those 3 satellites going overhead are just for me right now. In fact, just a fun fact: my colleague, my friend who is Portuguese, who lives in Lisbon, has just got his new fibre connection, and now he has got what has he got now? 100 gig fibre to his house.
Wow.
Don't ask me what he's doing with 100 gig fibre. That's synchronous, by the way. So it's not asynchronous. It's 100 down, 100 up, fibre internet, 100 gig. What do you do with 100
with
gig?
With a G, right?
With a G, gigabit per second. Yeah, 100 gigabit per second. Yeah.
How
ridiculous
big are the fibers like this? Or?
I have no idea. Ah, dear. It's crazy.
So, thanks for joining us, Johanna. So, understand you have to pop off, and you weren't expecting to jump on in the first place. So thank you for making the stream that much more interesting by having additional people on. So, next time round, we're going to advertise this a little bit more so that we can have some guests filling up all the slots on the screen and play about a little bit more with some of the new live motion features that we have in Ecamm's beta format, when we're almost catching up with what OBS can do, but not quite. So I just thought I could say that before Saeed gets in with that. So we will try and do that. We just thought this week we wanted to try and iron out any technical difficulties we may have, and to see whether the beta was going to break or where anything on my side was going to break in terms of the design and things like that. So we've tried all of that, and we've got Streamer Live in and working happily, and we've got everybody with their names appearing correctly. So we do have to need to go and investigate why the name is not changing on the active speaker. So Neil can make a note of that, and we can send that in to the developers. And I'm going to have a look at why I couldn't get that camera to change and why it wasn't appearing for the active speaker in that other scene, but it is in this one. So let me just have a look and see if that appears in the drop down while we're in this scene.
While you are checking, I'm just wondering, so for example, now I'm speaking and I'm the active speaker and I'm somewhere here also. So I'm also still in the little square. I'm not sure, is this just a Zoom thing, or is it just because of the concept we have at the moment that I'm twice on the scene?
Yeah, I think it's just a concept. So yeah, there is a new setting that allows me to remove anybody, stops them duplicating them on the screen. But up until last week, that wasn't the case. So I had to sort of improvise. This was my improvised compromise, whatever you want to call it, which I thought worked quite well, actually. So we've just stuck with it for this week while I work out the best way, the best mechanism to find out how to use this new feature which says exclude duplicates from the scene. I don't know whether that's going to suddenly mean that if I jump into the main screen, there's a black square on the screen where I was, because that might be what it means, in which case it screws up my design. So I just need to understand what that feature actually does and means. But
so
thank you, Neil, for that comment. It was another Neil.
Yeah. So I can explain how it works and what some of the use cases are. So any camera that's been brought in, as Martin said, is going to be excluded from the active speaker. So you would never appear in the active speaker, Saeed, and neither would Martin or myself or Lux. Anybody that's a camera source now in the top component of this visualization right now would not appear in active speaker. And the idea behind it is you have a panel, you have a group of people that are talking as part of a particular show, and then because it's on a Zoom call, then say you've got 100 people now who you're talking to within your Zoom event or your Zoom workshop. You can then say to the people, if somebody would like to bring a comment, for example, instead of just putting a comment in the chat, they could actually come on and actually talk after they've raised their hand. You unmute them and they would automatically be popped into this active speaker whilst keeping everybody else in the camera. So even if we do speak over them, for example, we wouldn't pop in there. So that's sort of the workflow where we can increase the number of people in our eCam for Zoom production, because we're limited to 8 guests and an active speaker. So what that would do is, even if there's 100 people still in the Zoom workshop, we could still bring people in on an ad hoc basis using the active speaker role. So that's really sort of the workflow they were aiming at. So if Martin did enable the exclude visible inputs from active speaker setting, then you would never appear in this active speaker, and we would wait for somebody else to join the Zoom room but not bring them in as a camera source. I hope that sort of explains some of the reasoning behind it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now the other thing that I'm noticing just there is that Lux's name is so long because he's added Stream Alive on the edge. It's just going on to the edge of the next image over on the screen. So I'm just wondering if you put a few more spaces in that, whether you could actually start to creep into your neighbour's overlay there. I suspect you probably would. So.
Well, one thing you could do actually, Martin, is you can change individual people's names in the camera. So I think you can go into Lux's
He's done it
text. Now. Oh, he's changed it. So he's changed it already. But we could do that as well. Now, I think that's persistent across your scenes. So if you were to change the name to something else, then as you flip between the scenes, it should be persistent for the duration of this call. So that's pretty cool. So we could rename people if we wanted to as well, instead of having the guests having to do that.
Saeed's now noticed as well, so there's a bit of a text war going on here now.
The facilitator gods. That's what it is, have to just rename themselves.
Straight
whatever you want
over.
to call yourselves. Yeah, what's in the name? Let's not get into that.
Yeah. You could actually just put a load of spaces in, Saeed, and then some rude name for Lux, and it would just look like that was his name if you did that.
So yeah, we've got the opportunity to do that as well, which is interesting.
So
don't give people ideas.
So this is all working nicely. The name placeholders is actually a new thing for us. That's new for eCam to bring in the name placeholders from Zoom as well. So that saves me a ton of work, because it means that I don't have to go and put in name placeholders for every individual before the show. The only one that it doesn't do it for is, bizarrely, me. So I've had to fake my name placeholder to look the same as everyone else's name placeholder, because it hasn't done it automatically. I've had to manually put that in. So that's another product enhancement request that we will be putting in. But for now, I think we've managed to get through a very successful 45 minutes or so off the show. And next week we will try again, and just there'll be some variety and some changes. I probably will keep this format more or less for next week, but we'll just shuffle things around a little bit and try and get a few more people in, and probably next week talk more about the challenges that people are facing with going live on LinkedIn and vertical and things like that. And we'll have a little bit of Streamer Live in next week as well, so as we can ask people those questions and look at the results. So we will do a bit of that. For now, Lux and Saeed, thank you for joining us, and Joanna and Ray as well for joining us beforehand. We're going to let you go in a minute or two. We're just going to go to the closing scene here, which now seems really dull and boring, doesn't it? Because it's just two of us.
Oh, where's all our nice people? We don't need to see that. Yeah, it's much better with other people.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, closing scene, 2 QR codes for you down there. The blue one, which is not that one, it's the other one. The blue one, let's see, you're doing it now. The blue one is for Ecamm. So if you're watching this on Ecamm, or you're from Dortmund, then you can obviously download Ecamm using the QR code. Or the black and white one is for Streamer Live, and that's our affiliate link for Streamer Live. So anyone watching on the replay who hasn't tried playing about with Streamer Live, then you can follow that link, and that will take you to exactly where you need to be. So with that, I think I haven't really got a closing scene. I kind of run out of time. So I think
you've done enough.
We will finish the live broadcast and have a quick chat with Saeed and with Lux in Zoom outside where nobody else can hear us. But thanks everybody for joining in the chat as well. So Gretchen, thank you very much indeed. Not bad for a practice run. So let's hope it goes as well next week if we do it with more people on, and a couple of minor glitches, nothing more than that. So it's bye from Edinburgh and
goodbye from Portugal.
See you later, folks.